Hello everyone, this is Melinda. I'm back today because my friend Eileen from Scrapmazing was the person to provide the sketch to the Secret Not Secret January party. And this is the sketch. And I want her to do at least a monthly sketch. So I like to make a video for every sketch that she does to promote her. So here's the sketch. Squares, photo. I'm going to do it on black background with vellum for the squares. I will link the video of hers that she does this sketch, a layout off the sketch, so you can see how she did it. And I'm going to turn it so that I can use this photo that I already have printed. It's a full 4x6. I normally don't work with 4x6s. And here's some things from my Freckle Fawn box that I might use on this layout. And these are just vellum that I had in my stash. I'm going to sew around the vellum. And these also came in my Freckle Fawn warehouse box. And I think I might use some of these that are white background just so I can add the circle pieces. We'll see. But I want to put you on fast forward so you can watch this happen. Thank you.
We're going to start by figuring out what we're going to put around the photo so I have an idea of space. I'm going to add in the gold with this tissue paper with the stars on it I got from Target. Just going to staple it together and wrinkle it up and then kind of just fluff it up so they look like separate layers. I also decide that I need to put on a white border, and my ATG took that time to run out of tape. And if you notice that little black thing off to my left, it is the thing that's supposed to be inside the tape gun. I realized this a little bit later and put it back in. I'm going to cut it very close so it has a border. Now, I don't use 4x6 photos very often, so this thing looks large to me. And it will end up not working. I'm going to sprinkle with gold as a base layer. And I end up giving it a little bit time to dry because I had to run upstairs and help the girls. So a couple of the ones were really thick and I had to air or dry them with my heat gun real quick. I decided that I'm going to just lay these on here and kind of pencil mark where I want them to be cut. I was thinking that this would be the best way to figure it out, and I'm keeping an eye on the sketch just so that I have an idea of how I want to do it. It's throwing me that this is a full-size photo and the sketch is with a square, so we'll figure it out. I decide against using the one with the gold vellum. And this is where I put it back on. I'm just going to trim them at the pencil line and try to keep the scraps on one side and the ones I want on the right side, but they get a little bit confused. And I'm going to set these on here, and I realize there's not a lot of space around them because the photo's so big. I'll pull the sketch out and turn it so I can kind of see how she had it laid out, just to see if I'm doing it right or not. And I say right, I just mean they're not fitting together like I thought they would in my head, so I'm trying to figure that part out. There's no really right way to do this. And I'm just struggling here. So I make this piece longer. I'm going to trim some of them, thinking that that's the problem. I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do a little chunk of. Ends up being this piece. Now there's really nothing wrong with this. It's just not working for me. Now I am going to have to leave. That is cut crooked, and it stays crooked, and it drives me nuts. I even try to straighten it, and it remains crooked. I'm going to swap out the more plain one for the dotted one again. Adjust them. Like I was saying, this is where I try to fix it. I end up having to stop the video and go to work, and I restart it back up the next day. So the layout just sits overnight waiting for me to come down, and that's when I change some things up. I'm going to pop these out because I know I want to use 3 of these. Just trying to figure out positively. That's what I want to do. And I decide that I want to stamp these stars I got from Alt New. And here I go. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to deconstruct this, chop it apart so that it ends up being a smaller photo, more of a small rectangle. It really isn't that big of a deal to cut it because I'm going to keep all the layers as they are. And I'm not too concerned about it ripping. I have to sacrifice the top layer of tissue paper on that end, but that's okay. Okay, now this makes more sense, and now this is the next day. I have decided to ink these onto the black background with my distressed oxide inks. And I was thinking that that pink one really would work with my husband's shirt. But once I stamp it on there, it looks really, really pink and not kind of that corally color that it looked on the acetate paper. But we're going to live with it. And I'm going to move everything and decide that I want to put this in these 3 spots. And at this point I'm going, I don't love it, but I'm going to go ahead and stamp the 3. I committed this much. So I'm going to use 3 different sizes. And these look to be a little bit distressed anyway, so my lack of stamping skills aren't the problem. Just trying to get the placement of it. And then the 3rd one, we're going to put right over here. Now I'm going to clean the stamps and I'm going to put everything back. I'm looking to make sure I don't want to stamp anything else. So I'm going to lay these out. That's basically how it's going to go. But then I realized that you really can't see the stars all that well because they're under the vellum. So let's put them on top of the vellum by stamping them on a piece of black cardstock. I'm going to put some foam under it. Hopefully I'll get a better stamped image from it. I thought about mixing the pink and the orange together, but I honestly wasn't in the mood to do trial and error at this point. This is my first layout that I'm doing of this 2018 of the year. I have been on a little bit of a hiatus with starting a new job and the hustle and bustle of the holidays, and I haven't been able to do much scrapbooking, if at all. I did clean my scrap room, which that was important. So I've cut them out, and I'm going to basically just put them on top as embellishment. Somehow I keep forgetting which pieces I used. So I'm going to do the big one up there, and they're just going to cover the spot that I stamped, so I'm not too concerned about it. And I decided that this is working. Do you ever have that feeling that if you haven't scrapbooked in a while, the first layout you do is always a little bit harder to get to work for you? The decisions don't come as easy. You second guess yourself a little bit more. That's kind of what I was going through. It had nothing to do with Eileen's sketch. It was all to do with me. I'm going to sew these up. And ta-da, I used gold thread to sew them. Just a quick glance there. I think about sticking this down, and then I think I got to figure out my journaling before I do that. I may want to do a hidden journaling pocket. So I hesitated on that. I know these are going to go here and here. Oh, that's too big. Let's trade it. And this is where I realized that that crooked piece is going to drive me nuts. And I also somehow, when I stuck everything down, stuck it on slightly askew, which wasn't on purpose, but now it's going to drive me nuts. So I'm going to trim this down and put a border on it. Hopefully that will distract your eye that it's crooked. I believe this is a basic gray paper. Kind of looks like a denim, an orangish, corally denim pattern on it. Just going to gut it so that I can use that another day. I'm going to just be bold and stick it down and then take it back up again because I need to change it. Now that's pretty straight, but when I look at it, that center stuff, all the vellum pieces, they're a little bit crooked still, and it drives me nuts. So we're going to take it back off and stick the black a little bit askew. So like I said, maybe it distracts the eye to think that I meant to put the center squares askew. Only you and I know that I did not. I'm going to try some things to see if they work, but I realized that I just don't need that. I'm going to work on the title, and I lay this down, and I don't know, the gold doesn't work for me. When I look at it, I see the white circles, and I don't see a lot of gold except for the sprinkles, and there's a little bit of gold around the photo. I think, okay, that's too short. Let's put "so proud." And I leave it for a second, and I look at it, and I go, nope, it's not going to work. I decide I'm going to put the photo down first. I'll put everything in place. A lot of times when I'm scrapbooking, I look up at my computer screen that is above me slightly to the left, and I can see the layout from a distance. And what I see is 3 white circles and this gold, and it's not going well. And I don't know, I just didn't like it. So I need to scrap the gold and find some white. These are Dear Lizzie from a little bit ago. I don't remember what they're called. But I liked the script font, so I'm going to use these. These are a bit of a like puffy. Now that adds more white in, so to me that looks better to the eye. I decide I'm going to want to add even more white, and I'll add some white sprinkles. This is Dylusion's white. It's about the only white that I really like, and it stays white when you sprinkle it, no matter what color you sprinkle it on. These, because I didn't do journaling, I'm thinking that I need someplace to put the date. And I didn't want to just stamp it on vellum, so I'm going to get a tab. Just a white tab. It's half of my McGill's punch. I'm just going to stamp it with a roller date stamp. Now I know some people don't like it, but I stamp it off on the actual thing. I like the imperfection that it gives. I'm going to try to fold these up a little bit, but I did glue really close to the edge. And these puffy stickers do not like to stick to the vellum. So I'm going to give them a little help with my glue pen so that maybe a year from now they'll still be stuck. And with that, I'm going to give you some live close-ups. I would say not bad for my first scrapbook page of the year. Getting my feet wet back in it again. It's not my favorite layout, but it's done. It's in the books, and I'll call it great. Don't forget to check out Eileen's video of this sketch. I'll link it below. Thanks for watching. Bye.